Hey,
Hey, welcome to a review of Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part One. I'm here. Well, I'm Jordan, the movie hero Anderson. I'm joined by my usual co-host here and partner Austin Pez Howell. We're both fresh off of seeing the movie, so we're just here to give our thoughts, to talk about it. And man, was this movie freaking awesome! It's Tom Cruise saving movie theaters. Hopefully, we'll see what the next year brings with this actor strike. But yeah, like it was great. So yeah,
he's damn near to be one of those guys that can do no wrong right about now. So,
yeah,
yeah,
right.
he's well, and when you go watch him, just in general, and we'll get to the movie in a second, but like you watch like his interviews and things, and he's he's gotten to the point where maybe you don't, you might think the Scientology thing is weird, whatever, but like if you can set that out aside, like he genuinely like loves making movies. Like you can tell when he does these interviews, and he legit talks about all the time how he thanks the fans for letting him make movies. Which is refreshing. He's just like,
Yeah, you get the little intro before the movie of him thanking
yeah, no,
everyone.
he
Yeah,
does that. He does videos where he's jumping out of planes, thanking people for making Top Gun a success. Like
yeah,
I mean, just doing crazy stuff. Like he likes doing all this crazy stuff for these movies, and he just wants to make entertaining movies. You know what? Cool, sounds good. I'll go
yeah,
see the
right.
movie. That's refreshing. It's nice, and yeah, I think this new one is definitely a success for in that reason as well. So
Yeah, yeah, and like Tom Cruise is like it's kind of like one of the last few movies, like actual movie stars that we have. It's maybe like him, like Leo DiCaprio, maybe I don't know. Like those are like the like main two that really come to mind. Maybe Brad Pitt or like Ryan Gosling, but there's only a handful that you consider like real movie stars.
Well,
There
and
are a lot of
guys that take that much control essentially over their movies and can have that much say and it can have that much influence and
yeah,
can really control what they do and can really do whatever they want and not have that much like studio interference. I mean, Tom Cruise and Christopher McQuarrie pretty much have full creative control over these movies, and I think they're better for it. You don't feel like they're being mucked with or anything. They do what they do, and because they're the executive producers as well, and they get to do whatever they want, and it's great.
yeah. Well, like going into this movie, like I didn't want to be. Well, I want to avoid spoilers as much as possible. So I didn't really watch too many trailers. I really just watched like the big stunt thing where he's like talking about the stunt
The
that he
behind the
did.
scenes
But
thing, yeah.
but there were a couple of actors in this movie that I didn't even know were even in it. Like I barely even looked at the cast list. I didn't know Haley Atwell was even in this movie
Mhm.
until like I sat down in the theater. I'm like, oh, it's Haley Atwell. It's freaking Peggy Carter or whatever.
Yeah,
So
Peggy
like that's
Carter.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, because you had her, you had a few returning people. Obviously, you still had, Rebecca Ferguson coming back from the last couple ones, and Vanessa
yeah,
Kirby, and you had Simon Pegg and Ving Rhames, obviously. But yeah, then you have a couple people that, like you had Henry Zarni, from the original film
yeah,
as
which is
Kittredge.
awesome.
Yeah, which is cool. I didn't know Carrie Elways was in the movie, so
Yeah,
Carrie
me
Elways
neither. I
showing
didn't
up
know
was
that
cool.
either. I almost
And
didn't even
freaking
recognize him.
and
Yeah.
I know you're a big MCU fan. Palm Clementov, Mantis, plays
Yeah,
a
right.
side character as well, which was cool. She was badass. She was great.
Yeah, she was awesome in this movie. So
Mhm.
so yeah, I was actually happy
I didn't
to see
know
her.
Shea Wiggum was in the movie. He shows up as like a guy kind
Yeah,
of chasing Tom Cruise around. I
me
think
neither.
his
I didn't know that
I
one
think his
either.
partner. I thought I recognized him. I was like, was that the guy from Cabin in the Woods? But it's not. It's actually a guy from
Oh,
Top Gun Maverick. He's one of the pilots in Top
okay.
Gun Maverick. The other partner guy who was like running around with him was Shea Wiggum. Um, but I thought at first it looked like the guy, the dude who's like hanging around in the office of Cabin in the Woods, but it's not. It's
Oh yeah.
Coyote from Top Gun Maverick. So he has a connection to Tom Cruise. But yeah, I didn't know Shea Wiggum was going to be running around chasing him the whole movie. Like, yeah, but it was cool. Like the guy who played Gabriel, Cy Morales, was great. I thought he had a
Yeah.
nice presence about him. I'm not super familiar with him in general, but he's been working for a long time as well.
Yeah, and then also I didn't know like another like smaller role. I know Rob Delaney was in it. Like you know him from Deadpool, where he just plays a random
Mhm.
guy named Peter, but he's in it for like a
Oh,
scene or two
Peter.
or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah. Just
yeah,
walk away, Peter. Just walk away.
yeah. Just walk away. Yeah, yeah. So
So yeah,
it was a good time though.
yeah, so like I put on here, we'll do some non-spoiler stuff, just some general talk for a couple of
Yeah,
minutes, and then we'll kind of get into some spoiler stuff and talk about some specific scenes. But yeah, overall, I think It'll take another viewing or two, but I enjoyed the hell out of this movie from start to finish. I thought it was great, really entertaining. Like I saw some people complaining about that it does kind of start off a little slow as far as it takes a little while for really the action to really get going, and there's a lot of kind of setup at the beginning. But I was super into everything. Like I thought it was really fast paced for what it was, even the sort of quote unquote slower scenes. But I really enjoyed the dynamic between when they do have the talking stuff between Carrie Elways and Henry Zarni. Like I thought those kind of banter scenes were really good. Even like there's an airport sequence where it's just these people kind of walking around, sort of chase. It's a chase scene, but not really a chase scene where people are running. It's just like we're avoiding this person, avoiding that person, and even that.
Yeah, you're avoiding thing and going one way,
but even that was really well
the
done.
Other way.
You still had good tension because you always have Simon Pegg and Ving Rhames kind of talking in his ear, and they've got all good chemistry, of course, like they do through all these movies. And but yeah, all the action sequences I thought were very well done. I mean, most of them you see in the trailers, really in like the last act of the movie, all the really big stuff. As far as the motorcycle stunt that you saw, like the behind the scenes for, a lot of that train sequence is kind of in the the back half of the movie, but really good stuff overall. I liked it.
Yeah, and one of the things I always do, I didn't do it this time for this movie, but definitely want to. I usually will go and pull up the soundtrack on or the score on Spotify and listen to it once all the way through. So I still want to. I do that because I think that the score is really, really good too. It kind of gives a lot of really good tension to everything and stuff. So yeah, I'm actually gonna do that one too. So yeah, but yeah, like this, the movie also just has some even to go along with the slow scenes, it has like what it's known for, like the huge action sequences, and there's a lot too. Like you get the whole the airport stuff, and then you kind of jump to like really cool car chases, and like that's one of the things that I watched a little behind the scenes where they're talking about the car chase that they did in Italy in there, and when they're in like the little what they call like the Fiat, that little car,
little
and
tiny,
like
little 2-seater Fiat, that they unlock,
While he's handcuffed to Haley Atwell, so he has to do it one-handed, and then they're on cobblestone streets, so the car the whole time just kind of shaking because they're on these streets, and they have to manage to pull off a big huge car chase, and the car chase goes for a while. That thing goes for
that car
10 minutes.
chase. When I think it's longer than that. I thought that car chase was like 20 minutes. It felt longer than it went on longer than I thought it would because it kept kind of changing. But it had some nice dynamics because you have they're getting chased by the cops, they're getting chased by Shea Wiggum, and then all of a sudden, Palm Clementoff's character are also going after him. She's got like a big armored truck that she's chasing him with too, and plowing through everything, and trying to kill him as well. So you have some nice time. It's funny how this movie has a lot of similar sequences to other movies that have come out this summer, just does them better.
Yeah,
so
right.
That sequence is very similar to the Fast X sequence where they're the ball is running around, which is also in Italy, I believe. Around the Vatican. Right. They also really have. There's another Italy car chase in that movie. Dial of Destiny has a train sequence where they're going through tunnels and stuff. This one has a train sequence where they're kind of fighting on top of the trains and going through tunnels. It's really weird. Some of the parallels with some of the other summer movies of the action sequences in this one. It's very strange. And even Fast X kind of ends with a submarine going through the Arctic, and there's a submarine in the Arctic at the beginning of this movie. So all the weird parallel stuff is very strange in this movie.
And also, Fast X ends on a cliffhanger. So does this Mission Impossible one. So
but I mean, I think we knew that in advance. But I would say for the cliffhanger, and we'll get into that in the spoilers. But I would say this movie's still satisfying as a movie. I didn't feel it just cuts off and has right in the middle of a sequence or something, and then just goes to credits. I still feel like there's a wrap up to what they're doing in this movie, and then there's the threads that are left, for the next one that are ready to go. So I still felt satisfied at the end of the ones.
And it does a really good job with like bringing back the same team that you know and love. You have Simon Pegg, you have Ving Rhames, you have Rebecca Ferguson, but then you kind of add a few people in there, Haley Atwell, and you add some other character, Shea Wiggins in there, chasing them around. You got Palm Clementif in there, so you have all like the core characters, but then you kind of add to it because you have those 3 or 4, I guess. But then like they always seem to kind of have like a 5th one that's different for every movie too. So like there's one where you had Jeremy Renner in there. There's a couple other ones with it.
Well, there was Jeremy Renner. Ghost Protocol had Paula Patton in there. She was running around with them. There always seems to be somebody they kind of add. Obviously, Fallout had Henry Cavill, running around in there, and that was great. So I mean, they always seem to add somebody, and oddly enough, just adding a lot of comic book people because Jeremy Renner, Henry Cavill, and Palm Clementif, Haley Atwell. But Haley Atwell is great because she's. It's one of the things I like. She's a strong character without upending Ethan Hunt in this movie. She's not bossing around Ethan, telling him what to do. She's not better at everything. She has her own set of skills, and they use her well. And she's also kind of an adversary, but sort of she kind of turns around and become, pseudo partners with him. She plays like a kind of a pickpocket, sort of thief. They run down her background. She's like a jewel thief, and she's done some robberies and things. So she's good at picking pockets and stuff, and she kind of gets wrapped up in the story because she gets hired to do a small job and then kind of gets wrapped up in the bigger thing of what's going on. So she kind of has to reluctantly run around with Tom Cruise, but still trying to get away with him throughout the movie. Like she's kind of trying to. She's out for herself for most of the movie still, but it makes for a good dynamic. I thought they had really good chemistry. They have some funny stuff together, especially that car chase it has some good moments of humor in there too. She's a great addition without detracting from the rest of the team. I think she's really good.
And also throwing Henry Czerny in there, so like people know him as Kitteridge from all in the series, but like I was wondering how they're going to use him, like if he's going to be just like a one scene guy. He's like all throughout the movie, so they used him a lot. So I actually really appreciate that too.
He shows up fairly early in the movie. Again, it's not really much of a spoiler. He's in the trailers. He's in some of the early sequences. He kind of takes a gap for a little while during some of the middle section, but then he shows back up for the for kind of the climax of the movie and the finale. And you kind of also don't know where he's going to land as far as his allegiances, if he's going to kind of work with Hunt or kind of work against him. They kind of play both sides here a little bit.
They almost kind of do, and I like how how they talk about the IMF and then just say that they're like they just use this crew of like Tom Cruise and Simon Pegg and Ving Rhames and all those guys that they use them for what they're useful for, and they are kind of on the same side, but they need them to complete a certain mission. They give them a choice, like always, like your mission should you choose to accept it, but they know they can rely on them because they always accept it, and they just use them for that. So they kind of don't even say that they're on the same side. They kind of are, but at the same time, they just use them for what they're useful for, and if they're not going to accept it, they'll move on to something else. But they have a certain mission that they need to get done. So it's kind of like how they kind of like explain that a little bit. So they give you a choice.
They're kind of the MacGuffin of the film is this like key that's in 2 parts that they're trying to get, so they can try to shut down this AI program that's kind of causing some havoc. The villain's kind of an AI villain because it's always kind of looming in the background throughout the movie. But Gabriel, the guy, is kind of like the voice of
entity.
the AI. Entity, and Gabriel is kind of the face of it, or essentially, the guy kind of representing, the interests of the AI throughout the movie. But I thought it was cool because we've had a lot of, guy with a nuke or guy who wants to like take over the world or is like a terrorist. We've had that like over and over again. So I think this is kind of interesting that it's an AI program that can shape sort of reality, like and it's a very prominent thing of like, what's real on the internet, what's not, what the story is, what it isn't, how do we tell what's true, what's not true? And that's kind of the thing. It wants to kind of throw the world into chaos and that thing. And I thought it was interesting. I like the aspect, and I think we'll flesh it out a little bit more in part 2, but I liked what we got of this one, especially there's a club sequence where it's kind of on the screen and it almost looks like something out of Lord of the Rings. Like it's like the Eye of Sauron. So I thought that was interesting as far as
And they've had movies that have done similar things in the past. This one just does it a better. Oh yeah, I saw that
Yeah,
they're
Nick
adding Nick
Offerman. That should be
Offerman
good.
to the cast.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
so that'll be cool. I'm a big Nick Offerman guy. I got my little
Ron
whatever you call
Swanson.
the like saxophone guy that he does in
Oh,
Parks and Rec.
Duke Snyder.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Or Duke Silver. I'm sorry, Duke
yeah,
Silver.
yeah.
Yeah.
Duke Silver, but yeah, they've done things like this in the past where like even like with like Incredibles 2, they have one where it's like they're using technology and they're using it for like screens for different things. But like they just didn't do it as well as they do it here. They just do it so much better in like a way that just doesn't seem cheesy or like it's kind of forced on you or anything like that. Like it actually works, you know.
Yeah.
So
So what do you say we kind of get into some actual spoilers because I really want to talk about some of these sequences.
yeah.
Overall, it's a for
Yeah.
anybody who has to tune out, it's a big recommend. I like this movie a lot. I thought it was super entertaining. We'll where it ranks in the series, I don't know. I have
Yeah, I'm not sure
on a
yet
repeat
either.
viewing. I know it's still in the upper half. I just think everything from part 3 on has been great. So
Yeah,
it's
same.
deciding which one's your favorite, I think is more of a personal preference thing. But I think every one of these movies has been unique and fun, and it's delivered. As far as that. So and this one's no exception. It's a high recommend for sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's get into some actual spoilers.
Yeah, we're in some spoilers.
Talk
So
about
tune
that.
out
So
now if you don't want to hear any spoilers. I can maybe come back and watch after you've seen the movie.
yeah, so
Oh,
let's
yeah.
get into some spoilers. So yeah, we have some big things that happen. We have a major character that dies in this movie.
Yeah, right. So I was shocked because like they kind of so the main villain like he's able to like predict some things because of the AI, the like Isai Morel or like Gabriel they call him, and that and like he has the whole like uh prediction where like so that's what this key. There's like a key that's kind of like one of the MacGuffins that they're like trying to go after this key that'll like unlock the subcode to the entity or whatever it does. I don't think anyone knows exactly what it does 100% for sure, but so Gabriel kind of makes a prediction saying that he's going to be on this train, this Oriental train or whatever, but one a character's going to die, and they say it's either going to be Rebecca Ferguson or Haley Atwell. One of them is going to die, and that's his prediction because of the like entity or whatever. Like he just
The
knows
entity
things
can
and stuff.
predict. The entity can kind of predict human behavior, and like, and yeah, and puts it in a position, where somebody's, it kind of knows what's going to happen and gives you choices. But of course, Tom Cruise doesn't want to accept that. Nobody's going to die. I'm going to say,
Yeah,
nobody
right.
dies. It's like the
He really
Batman.
cares about his team. He doesn't want anyone to die. He wants
No, he doesn't
to
want
take
anyone
care
to
of
die.
everyone.
He'd rather sacrifice himself before any of the team members. Like he says that repeatedly, throughout these movies that he's he's more than willing to put himself in danger, if it means saving Simon Pegg or Ving Rhames or whoever, or his wife in the past movies, Michelle Monaghan, anything like that. But yeah, and this person, Haley Atwell, as much as she tries to kind of do her own thing, it's still like she's still kind of a somewhat innocent person wrapped up in this thing and doesn't want to see her die because of it. She kind of got wrapped into this, and we find out she was sort of hired by by the White Widow, Vanessa Kirby's character, to pickpocket the guy at the beginning of the movie at the airport, and then so she gets kind of wrapped up in everything. And yeah, her skills come into good play. There's a lot of that key changes hands a lot throughout this movie.
Yeah,
back and forth. Yeah,
and like they're also doing some kind of like I don't know like CGI tricks because there's some of the seems kind of like magic. Where'd it go? Oh, it just vanished out of thin air or something. But maybe I don't know. They just said they're really good.
Well, the thing with the AI system can control like the cameras and stuff, and the little programs they're looking through. So it has them like changing people's faces on cameras and like tracking people that aren't there, and kind of creating people out of thin air. Because there's a thing where they think Shea Wiggum, they think they see Ethan on the cameras, and they get there and it's a whole different person, just another guy. And it's manipulating the reality, which I think it adds kind of a fun dynamic, especially that sequence, in that you can't really trust even what you're seeing on camera, and it kind of screws with their comms at one point and imitates Simon Pegg's voice during that one sequence when he's trying to catch up to Ilsa, and is like, go left, now go right, go to whatever. It's like throwing him off the trail because it's not actually Simon Pegg telling him where to go.
Yeah, we definitely get some good Tom Cruise running action where he's just running.
There's a lot of running in this movie.
There's a lot of it, and like
yeah,
So that's like one of my favorite things. Just going to YouTube, just watch like 5 or 10 minutes of Tom Cruise running, all the like scenes of him running. Like, he does it
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot. So yeah, he's like running forever to try to catch up when they're like having like a cool little fight between the Haley Atwell's character and Rebecca Ferguson fighting Gabriel on this
Mhm.
bridge is like pretty cool. So it's him just kind of running through the like alleyways and the streets to like try and get there, but so we can save
Yeah.
one of them before one of them dies. And the spoiler is that it ends up being Rebecca Ferguson's character. So
Yeah, she
yeah,
gets
that's
killed
what
on
ends
the
up.
bridge, and yeah, and then Grace is kind of all alone there, and yeah, he
Yeah,
just gets there just a little bit too late, like a minute too late, to save her, and Gabriel runs off, and yeah, again, I thought the Gabriel guy was really good. He had like a nice kind of sinister, quality, kind of gravitas to him. I
yeah,
really liked him. You never really knew what he was gonna do because he ends up taking out Carrie Elways later too. Like
yeah,
you think they're
right.
gonna work together, and then he just like slashes his throat as well. It's like, nope, no, we're going to our business for ourselves. We're doing our thing. At the entity, he turns on Palm Clementov at one point, so she kind of
Yeah,
starts helping out Ethan because this dude's just causing mass chaos everywhere and screwing over everybody. So they all kind of turn against him. But yeah, I thought, as with a lot of these movies, a lot of great twists and turns. You always get the reveal where somebody pulls off their face, and
yeah.
it's whoever.
Those
That's always
masks.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's always fun.
yeah, they do that, and then I guess there's like the scene where like their thing that makes mass breaks or something, so they're able to make one for Haley Atwell, but then not for anybody else. So she has to go on this
Mhm.
train by herself, and then they all catch up with her later. But yeah, like there's like a whole bunch of those scenes where they're just pulling off masks and stuff. I
Mhm.
don't know if that's a real thing where they can just make masks that look that realistic where you can't tell who a
Well,
person is.
yeah, because
So
it's like I don't think we've gotten there yet. I mean, it's
yeah,
supposed to be this like super technology that just like sucks right onto your face, but then like how does it come off so easily? I don't know. Yeah, it
yeah.
seems like it would be very easy to tell because yeah, most
Like
masks are
how
not.
they do the voices, like that to sound
Yeah, the
exactly like
voice
the
is like a
character.
chip thing where they have to like make them say
Yeah.
something so they can, do that. Because I know in you remember back in Mission Possible 3, there was a thing where he had to make Philip Seymour Hoffman say like like a sentence, that
Oh
has a lot
yeah.
of different syllables and stuff, so they can imitate the voice and get it on there. But yeah, that's always a fun aspect of the series. And but yeah, as far as like the action sequences go. Yeah, that car chase is interesting because yeah, I think it goes on longer than I thought it would go on. It just kind of
Yeah.
keeps going and going because they switch cars, a couple of times till they eventually get to the little Fiat that they unlock, and then they're going downstairs and yeah, bumping all over the place, and they
Yeah.
get down the subway
All
tunnels,
over.
and the subway hits the
Oh yeah, the
car.
subway. Yeah, forgot
Yeah.
about that too. Yeah,
Hmm.
they're like all over the place. Then he has a little like whatever. Yeah, but yeah, like that's some good stuff. You get a lot of like Tom Cruise on motorcycles too. Like I didn't think he was going to be on a motorcycle for as long as he was, but he was on for a long time too. So
Well, he was
uh,
even to catch up with Haley Atwell at one point. He even hops on like the police motorcycle. Is kind of like tagging along with her on the motorcycle. And that's the great thing about him is you can tell it's him the whole time. He says he does all of his own stuff, so like that's him riding around on the motorcycle all the
yeah,
time.
right.
He said he doesn't even really have a stunt double like at all. He does everything.
Yeah,
So
right.
he's
Does
riding around on the
everything.
motorcycle there. Even the
Puts
little
his
stuff
life on the
in
line.
even the little stuff before he does the big, giant jump. He's doing these little mini jumps all over the place, like going up and down the mountains and on the trails and stuff. And it's all him. He's riding around, and yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he's doing all of his own stuff. It's great, and you can tell he really cares about all that. He's doing all of his own running. He's doing all of his own fight scenes. That fight scene in the alley is pretty brutal. With that really really narrow alley that he has the fight scene with Palm Clementov and the other guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When then that little confined one, yeah, the real narrow one with Palm Clementine's character just going crazy, and like one other guy. I think there's another guy in there too. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like,
I was gonna say,
sorry, I'm a
watch your
little
tab.
laggy.
You're getting a
My
little
bad.
laggy. Yeah, be careful. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Here,
yeah. No,
let me
that
close
that
up
sequence
one
is good,
tab.
and
There we go.
yeah, he ends up sparing Palm Clementov's life in that thing, which she kind of remembers at the end, and ends up helping him out near the end of the movie.
Yeah, you
But
kind of see it like he had a chance to stab her, and he just kind of like just hits the wall. It's like
yeah,
okay, and he just takes off. Because
yeah, he just takes off,
I don't think
which
he
is
really
really
wants to kill people. He just does what he's got to do sometimes. But like if he can
if he
spare
has to shoot
people, he
somebody,
actually has a
he'll shoot
conscience.
somebody. Yeah, I mean, if he has to shoot somebody, he will. That, or kill somebody. For the greater good, sort of. He will. But yeah, he doesn't necessarily want to take out everybody. But yeah, and it kind of gets to where everybody's still kind of chasing after this key, and they've got to get on this train. And yeah, that whole sequence is beautifully shot. Like I love the
It
environment because
was,
it's in Norway or something,
yeah,
where they
something like
shot
that.
it. It's
Yeah,
really pretty. Yeah, really pretty. Yeah, and to where the Gabriel guy, it's kind of a runaway train situation where he speeds up the train and then breaks all the emergency braking systems and everything, so it's kind of out of
oh yeah,
control.
he like breaks it, and then he takes the like conductor guy and like hangs him from the little like horn, the doo doo thing. So he's yeah, so he's
So
just
you
like
just see
hanging there.
every time you hear the horn, it's just the guy swaying back and forth,
Yeah,
like
like
hitting the
swinging. Yeah,
thing, which is really crazy. But yeah, Haley Atwell's got to be. She's playing the White Widow on the train with like the mask on and trying to do the deal, and she ends up declining the offer of like the $100 million thing for herself.
yeah, she
Like
does.
she actually turns it down, and yeah, that's where we get a little more of Kit Ridge and Carrie Elways kind of show back up, doing some of the deals and things. So there's
Yeah,
some nice little back and forth stuff there. But yeah, of course, the whole thing is, Tom Cruise was just gonna, go to an elevated spot and just kind of casually parachute onto the train. But of course,
yeah.
that doesn't work anymore because
No.
the thing's going, 3 times as fast, and
Yeah,
he's
he's gonna do it when it slows down on a curve or something,
when it
then it's
slows down a
going way
curve,
too
but it's speeding
fast.
right through the curve,
Yeah,
and yeah, he's got to get super super high so he can do his big base jump. And yeah, it really is. Even though we've seen the behind the scenes thing, when he's still, even in the movie, when they actually take the jump and you see all the different angles of it, it's still like holy shit, like
yeah,
this.
it's like crazy. Like when it happened, I was just like sitting there, and I just leaned forward. I'm like, oh my
You're
god,
just like,
oh
oh
my
my,
god,
there was like a hush in the theater where
yeah,
I heard some people in
yeah,
the
it was
theater
a
just being
hush.
like, holy shit, like just
Yeah,
like oh my god.
that's him
And
like really doing that.
no, it's him really doing that. I mean, dude, he did it 8 times apparently for the movie to get
Yeah,
the right
right.
shot, which is insane. Because yeah,
Yeah,
if anything goes wrong, we could not have Tom Cruise here, at all. If there's a wind which catches his parachute, he could go flying into the side of the cliff.
yeah.
If the motorcycle tips over, he could go, falling off the cliff. I mean, any number of things could go wrong with that thing. If
But
his parachute just malfunctions, whatever,
yeah.
anything could happen.
Well, one of the things that like I'm a little like clear about is that so like before he does that, like the like gearing him up to go do it, and then Ving Rhames' character like has to go somewhere, like and he like says something to him, he has to go
He has to
and
go
like he's
off
not
grid.
there.
He has to
Uh,
go off grid. He has to go offline to try to hack into to the entity when they actually get the keys. He says, when you guys get to the thing, if you get the keys and or actually get to the, like, I have to do some coding offline so that the entity can't screw with me. So that's part of one of the hanging threads is he's going off somewhere
yeah, he goes off
to go
somewhere.
to
Like from then
go
on,
do a
like he's
separate
not in the
mission.
movie anymore.
Yeah, but
So
it's kind of the thread that's left is where is he going to kind of help them out from a different area. So that'll be picked up, I'm sure, in part two, is where what Ving Rhames is up to, separately. So,
yeah, but they always gotta have some humor from Simon Pegg's character because he's good at it, where he's like trying to lead him to the to like uh, to how he's gonna get on this train, but he doesn't tell him that he has to like do this huge jump to like get on the a train. He's like you see the a train there. He's like yeah, and he looks down and the train's way the heck down
way
there.
down
He's
there, yeah.
like yeah, like it's right there. So yeah, like yeah, so you just gotta jump down to that, or
You
you're
just
like
jump, and
right
he's like,
there.
"How? What do you mean I'm
Jump.
supposed to jump?" He's like, "If
Yeah.
I jump right
What do you mean?
here, I'm gonna slam into the cliff." Da da da. And then Simon
Yeah.
Pegg's like, "Stop yelling! I'm under a lot of pressure right now." And Tom Cruise
Yeah.
is just like,
Yeah.
"Really? You're under a lot of pressure?" Yeah, I just gotta jump this, mountain and then go parachute down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then like Simon Pegg's in the car with the autopilot on, so he's sitting there doing it while the
Mhm.
car's just driving him around and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good stuff.
Yeah, no, it's
Oh,
fun stuff. So yeah, he does his thing. Tom's able to get onto the train and kind of do the thing. But yeah, even that whole sequence I thought was really creative. eventually when they do end up getting the key, Ethan has a fight with Gabriel kind of on top of the train, going back and forth with the keys and stuff, and Shea
Yeah,
Wiggum
there's a good
gets
fight
involved.
scene up there. Yeah.
Yeah, a good little fight up there. They're kind of doing the it's almost a callback to the original Mission Impossible when he was on
Yeah.
that bullet train as well,
Yeah.
in the
That bullet
first
train.
one.
Yeah.
And I think he's kind of making up for that. He's like, yeah, I know that one doesn't look great when you go back and watch it now, with all the CGI in that movie, the train sequence. He's like, let me do a train sequence where there's like real people on top of a train. Like, let me do that,
Yeah.
and kind of redo it a little bit. And there's even a little bit of speed in there where they're trying to avoid the things inside the tunnel too, and make sure they don't get decapitated. Like,
Yeah, they don't want to get hit by whatever those things that like stick out over top of the train. And then when they go into the tunnel, they have to duck down. But then they're still kind of like going at each other a little bit, kind of crawling while they're like going through the tunnel and having to duck down so they don't get their heads knocked off. Yeah.
yeah, and I think and Gabriel has a cool little escape where he like jumps off at the right minute onto the end of like the back of this truck.
Oh yeah,
to
back of
look
a
at it.
truck.
And he kind of escapes, but Ethan was able to pickpocket him and get the key.
Yeah, so he got that. So he's pissed off. But like one of the like things that like makes me laugh. Sometimes I just laugh at the most random thing, and like people in the theater kind of look at me like really guy or what, whatever. But like when like Tom Cruise, he like does this jump, but then he like cut back to like a minute or like a couple of minutes of like some other action, some other things going on. So like I remember thinking, what happened to Tom Cruise? Like, is he gonna make it? What's going on? All of a sudden, he comes crashing into the side of the train, just like super hard, just boom. He just kind of gets up and kind of looks around, and like that just made me laugh. I'm like, holy shit.
Well, he actually does that, but he's like stumbling around wobbly for a while actually in that sequence. Like he's trying to like fight, but he keeps like falling over. Like he's really wobbly from like slamming into it, as you would be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, he's really wobbly and kind of. I'm sure he's concussed a little bit. He's got
yeah, right. He's a wee bit concussed.
Yeah, but yeah, they do that, and then but before Gabriel jumps off the bridge because they already had one of the bridges kind of rigged to blow up, so the bridge blows up because of course it does. A train on a bridge, it has to blow up.
Yeah,
to go off. Of course it
has
does.
to. Yeah.
But yeah, the train they're able to detach the engine. So the engine goes plummeting, but the thing is still kind of inching its way towards the edge. And they have this cool sequence where they have to keep running from car to car as the cars are sliding off the edge, and crashing one by one. It's a pretty cool sequence where they even have like one part where it kind of tilts over and they kind of float up, doing the zero gravity thing. And
they float up and you can kind of see like they're like straight down, looking straight through the like car that's hanging over the side of the cliff. And then they do some really cool camera shots too, where you're like seeing some like them looking down, from them looking up, and then they like kind of show how the zero gravity stuff is, and then how they have to like jump from like the like one part of the bottom of the train car over to the top of it too. So like it kind of like for a little bit I was getting kind of like disoriented. I'm like, so which way's up or which way's down or what's going on?
It's kind of like, it reminded me a lot of the sequence in the Lost World, where they're in the RV that's hanging off the edge of the cliff.
Oh yeah,
about to go off, and they have to kind of climb their way up, on the rope and get out of there before the whole thing goes over. But yeah, they have to make their way through like 4 of them before it stops sliding. There's even a fun little sequence where there's like a piano is about to fall on them from like on.
They
have to avoid that, and then Palm Clementov ends up kind of making the save at the end. And
like who comes to save them? The one that was once their enemy, and now she's coming to save them.
Yeah, so she has a nice little spot there. Yeah, Kittredge kind of has some stuff at the end where where Grace is not able to get away with Ethan. She has to hang around, but she told Kittredge that Tom Cruise gave her the choice, which is what we hear about, to kind of join the IMF or whatever. So we'll see. That's another kind of thread they leave it on, for part 2, is she's with Kittredge now, and we'll see what happens to her, sort of in their custody or whatever you want to call it, with him and Shea Wiggum. So she's kind of separated now, with that. So will they reunite? I'm sure they'll reunite at some point in part 2.
Yeah, right. I'm glad they gave Shea Wiggum's character and like the guy that he was with too, the black guy, and like a little something to do, because every time I'm like, that I saw them, I'm like, oh, so he's just gonna be the character that it's like one step behind everybody else. So I'm like, here comes Tweedledee and Tweedledum. They can't quite catch up or anything, but when they finally get to that train sequence, he's able to get everyone to the back of the train because he knows that it's probably going to go off this cliff, and so he's able to like save everyone to get them to the back of the train and all that. So at least has that.
Yeah, he
So.
at least has that going for him. Like I say, he kind of knows. He got a little bit of he was also, his partner was the guy, telling him, being like, what if he's going rogue for a reason? Like, what if he's not like the bad guy here? And
Yeah.
he's
Oh
kind of
yeah.
putting the idea in Shea Wiggum's head that he's not, like, maybe should just let him do his thing, and not chase him the whole time or try to arrest him or whatever. So yeah, I'm sure they'll pop up in part two. Kind of hanging around. He'll probably join him, help him out at some point. I'm sure. In
Yeah.
part two, he'll end up helping him with something, some mission. But yeah, Ethan Hunt's able to use his other little backup parachute to kind of paraglide, out of the train and meet back up with Simon Pegg. And then they have this kind of voiceover with Kittredge, that dude's a really good voiceover guy. He does really good voiceover narration.
Yeah.
When they play at the beginning and at the
does,
end.
Yeah.
He's got one of those great voices of just like, your mission, should you choose to accept it. He's got a great voice for that. But yeah, that's good stuff.
Like even in the first, like the original mission in Impossible, they're like having this kind of really intense conversation inside some kind of restaurant, and he's like from day one you've cajoled and contrived and like your way through this whole entire organization and like that whole thing, and then Tom Cruise has a little gum where you like press them together and it explodes, so he throws it down, and then you have the really cool slow motion kind of thing where the glass blows up and he's jumping out of there. So
that's the he blows up the fish tank or whatever.
Yeah, the fish tank thing.
Yeah. But it's cool they brought him back. Yeah, that dude's got a good presence. Yeah, he's a good actor, and he brings something fun to where like it's one of those things. Again, if you didn't remember him exactly from the original, it's like they still do a good job of explaining, like, no, he's been around for a while. Like, he knows Ethan. Like, he's always kind of hanging around. We just haven't seen him in a long time. But, again, it's a nice little thing for fans of the series who remember all the way back to the first movie. But, it also kind of encourages you to go back and watch the original one to kind of see where it came from.
And if you've seen the first one, like, why, like, he's always going to put the safety of his team above the mission. Because in the first one, it opens up and they're doing a mission in like some kind of banquet thing, and his whole entire team dies. And so it's like I think that like maybe he's like still having some trauma from that. Then he's like, never again will I put the mission above the team. The mission's always important, but like he really cares about his team, making sure they survive.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
yeah, that was good. Yeah, we didn't even really talk about that opening. Was kind of cool. It was almost like a Hunt for Red October. Like,
like in the submarine.
Cool. Yeah, the submarine thing was cool, and how it like the entity tricks them into like firing on a sub that isn't even there, and like the torpedo comes back around and hits them. Well, again, another weird parallel to real life, a submarine that goes down and like kills everybody on board.
Right. Yeah. Like I kept thinking about that, like Titanic thing.
Yeah. It's so again, strange parallels to kind of real life. But it's a pretty disturbing sequence when then we see the bodies floating up and they hit the ice, like they don't even go to the surface, like they just hit the ice at the surface.
You see the keys there. I wonder how they got those keys out of there. Like, I don't know what happened.
Yeah, somebody got them. I'm assuming that somebody knew. A couple of different organizations probably knew they were down there experimenting with them. Yeah, it's not really made super clear how they got out of
there. Yeah, I'm just kind of like, those things go to the bottom of the ocean, they're gone. And like, I'm sorry, but they're gone.
Yeah, my only thing is I'm assuming several different organizations knew they were there. Then there was kind of a chase to get them once they figured out that the sub was gone. So I don't know. So somebody got a hold of them. But yeah, it's not. It's just one of those things you kind of have to just accept it. They out on it now. It's like now they're all over the place. So
yeah, right.
It is what it is. But it's all good. But yeah, it's that's kind of most of the big set pieces of the movie. But again, it's a long movie. It's like 2 hours and 40 minutes. But I didn't really feel the runtime. I thought it flew.
No, I didn't feel it either.
Pretty fast, like as far as what it was. I thought it went at a really good clip. Like even in the opening stuff, which is supposedly slower, I was invested in everything, in all the different characters, and it helps when you have a lot of these good actors. This one, Carrie Elway's better performances because he can be a little hit or miss depending on the movie. He can be a little wonky sometimes, but he's really good in this one.
Like in the Black Christmas.
Black
a remake.
Christmas,
He was in
or
that, or
even the
something like
original
weird.
Saw. He's not great in the original
Yeah.
Saw. Like it kind of depends on the movie.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, he's really good here, and he had some nice kind of gravitas to him because again, I didn't know he was in the movie, so that was cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, everybody's good, man. Everybody they got these movies down to a T, man. They know how to do this. They know how to keep the tension going. They know how to make an intriguing story. Um, yeah, again, I think
Yeah.
it's success, and again, a part one that doesn't feel like it leaves you with nothing. Again, I think it's still is satisfying as a movie. It doesn't just
Hmm.
Fast X's cliffhanger is literally like a cliffhanger, almost
Yeah.
literally.
It
The
just
one where
stops after
it
something
just
big
stops.
happens, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's like one thing's about to happen, it just stops. This one, it's like no, it's like it's cliffhangers in that everybody, the team is kind of split up. Everybody's kind of got their own directions they're
Yeah, they're
going,
all going their own
and
way.
we haven't stopped the entity yet. But like but it's not like a literal like, oh my god, I'm about to be hit by something, and we cut to credits or something like that, like a Batman the series kind of Adam West
Yeah,
thing.
right.
What will our heroes do next time? It's like no,
Yeah, yeah, right.
we're all just kind of separated. We've got a thing, and we'll we got to finish the mission. The mission's just not done yet. You know what I mean? So it's one of those types of cliffhangers. So it's still satisfying as a movie.
It kind of makes sense that they like have a huge a set piece like the huge action scene on the train, and then they all survive that, and they're kind of like, "Whew, all right, now we can
Yeah.
all just like take a breather, go on to the next thing, go our own separate ways," and that's kind of where it ends. And you see Tom Cruise going off with Simon Pegg, and they're kind of on their way to safety somewhere. So we'll find out
Yeah,
where.
and so I mean, for as far as the second one goes, I mean, you imagine there's going to be some kind of big Arctic sequence because that submarine's in the Arctic,
Yeah,
under
right.
the ice, and they have to get to that. That's where the actual entity is. So there might
Yeah,
be
that's where
some
they
cool
see.
like there might be some cool
They show the shot
underwater
of it.
stuff
Then
with
yeah,
them diving, down there in the Arctic water. Like there could be some cool stuff they're planning for that
yeah,
movie, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see what comes out as far as what are they going to be the big sort of action set pieces of that one? Because I'm sure we'll get a glimpse of it, once they start putting trailers out and behind the scenes stuff as they did with this
yeah.
one.
Now, do you know,
But
like,
it'll
have they
be
filmed everything for like part two? Is that?
everything is filmed as far as again. I saw that because everybody's wondering with the strikes and all that. I know they were already in post production because they filmed these movies back to back. So they filmed both of them back to back. So most of the principal photography is done. I know Tom in an interview was saying they were in London doing some pickups and reshoots. So that's as far as
Okay.
I know. So as soon as that's over, they can conclude with that.
Well, there's
But
gonna be another huge stunt that they're saving for the next one. There's
oh, I'm
got to
sure.
be.
Yeah, there's something they
Yeah,
already did that you're just not showing at all. Yeah, they
yeah.
already did.
Because
But
like
yeah,
usually, like
as I know it
in
is.
like most movies, they'll have two big stunts. So like there's like one where like in Ghost Protocol that they have where it's climbing up the building. Then they have the whole sandstorm stuff that's like
Hmm.
going on, and there's another one where like I'm trying to remember like I think that's Rogue Nation where it's hanging onto the side of the airplane.
Well, Rogue Nation
Batman.
had the opening with the airplane, and then that sequence where Tom Cruise was holding his breath for like 6 minutes in that
Yeah, that
vortex
one.
little
Yeah,
water thing. Yeah.
underwater. So that kind of makes sense that they only had like one big set piece, but it was one that like kind of went on and on and on because you had the motorcycle jump, but then also where the train's falling. That's
All the
kind of
train
another big
stuff. Yeah,
big
so they
set
have
piece.
that. Yeah, and Fallout had a couple. Yeah, because they had all the helicopter stuff at the end was great, and
Yeah, where he's
uh,
actually flying it, Tom Cruise.
yeah, exactly. No, I mean the
Yeah,
dude does his thing, but yeah, they had other
yeah,
good. They had that fight sequence in the bathroom was fun, and then there's
yeah.
they had the actual sky jump where they did the, that one skydiving thing or whatever with him.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah, that stuff. So yeah, I mean they definitely try to do. But I'm sure they're going to go all out because apparently that part two is supposed to be the last one. So.
yeah. The last
So
one. So
as of right now, it's scheduled to be the final
which
one. So they'll go out with a bang for sure. I'm sure they got some good stuff.
yeah, which I feel like they're saying it's gonna be the final one, and it might be. But the thing is, it just seems to me like Tom Cruise just loves doing this stuff so much that like maybe like if they get a good enough script, they bring back Christopher and McQuarrie, all the right pieces fall in line. Maybe there'll be something else. I don't know, but it's hard to
He
really
says he
say.
hasn't ruled it out, but at the same time, he's ready to do some other stuff. That's not so taxing on his body and as far as what
Yeah,
he has to do. Because again, he's 61 now. So
yeah.
as far as like
61
doing,
doing that.
he loves doing that stuff. But as far as it's so much prep and so much training that he has to do for everything. I mean, he's talked about doing that movie where he literally wants to film a movie in space. So I think that's
Oh
gonna be
yeah,
this big thing. Like he
yeah, that
literally
is
wants to
true.
do like not even an action movie. He wants to film like this drama in space, but literally film it like in a space station.
Yeah,
So I
be
mean that I
crazy.
think that's gonna be his next big project. He's gonna be doing space training, for to go to space. Like as a like
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised if he literally does like 6 months of astronaut training. Like he's one of those
right.
madmen that will do that. You know what I mean? Just to
Yep.
just to do it for something different. So I would not be surprised. Yeah, I want to see him do some different stuff. Do that Les Grossman like Tropic
Yeah, the
Thunder
Les
spinoff.
Grossman. Yeah,
I'm all about it. So hopefully he'll.
same.
As much as I love these movies, yeah, and I hope they go all out for the last one. I'm ready to see them do some other stuff too. So, but hey, if Christopher McQuarrie directs that space movie, I'm all for it, because obviously they have a good partnership. So maybe they'll do that and just try something different, original movie.
Yeah, right. Well, I'll just say, obviously, if you're watching now, you're already have seen the movie and you're okay with spoilers. But like, yeah, I was looking at some of the cast for a part two to see if they have one extra on there, and obviously you don't see Rebecca Ferguson on there, so that's kind of
Mhm.
like shows that she's not going to be there. But
Yeah.
but and then I'm seeing Nicholas Holt, so like I don't know if he's going to be in the next one. 'Cause I'm seeing him on there too. So like and like listed kind of high within the cast. So
No,
so
maybe,
like
yeah,
so
who
maybe he'll
knows?
be in there. And then also Brian in the comments he just mentioned Nick Offerman. So he's in there as a character Sydney. That's all it says. He's in that, and that's basically everybody else that was.
Maybe he'll be like a tech guy or something, like
Yeah, yeah,
looks him
maybe
over some
that.
stuff. I could see him doing something like that, being like a tech guy that they run into, or yeah, some other guy that kind of helps the team out for a mission or something. I could see something like that.
Yeah, and also seeing Hannah Waddingham, who if you ever seen the show Ted Lasso, she plays like the rich lady who's like the owner of the team or whatever. Like
Mhm.
she's in that too. So that's those are the like really other names that I'm seeing so far.
Okay.
So we'll see.
I'm sure, yeah, they'll announce some other stuff. Like I said, yeah, we won't see anything for a little while as far as any trailers or teasers. They'll kind of let this movie sit for a while. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, nothing more to say than a success, and I really enjoyed it, and it's definitely one of my favorites of the year so far, like for sure. So it'll as of right now, it's in the top 10. So we'll see of the year so far. We'll see if it
Yeah, yeah. We'll see because yeah, like when I think of like my overall ranking of all the Mission Impossible movies, my favorite is so far is Ghost Protocol. That's mine. But
Mhm.
but like if I get sometimes just to sit, I mean it'll be up there. Like there's a chance. I mean like just ask me what uh, on an, every or on any given day. Like it could be Dead Reckoning or it could be Fallout or it could be Ghost Protocol. Like it just depends. They're all so good. It's hard to pick one.
Yeah, no, I'd like to pick favorites, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, on every given day, what I'm looking for in one of these movies, yeah, it could be Ghost Protocol, it could be Fallout. There's days where I love Mission Impossible 3. I love that movie a
Yeah.
lot. I go back to that movie a lot. I think that movie's really underrated. So yeah, it just depends on what I'm looking for. But that's a good thing if we're deciding like, oh, these movies are so good. Which one's my favorite? It's almost like the John Wick movies. It's like, well, which one's the best? I don't know. Whichever one I just watched.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And whichever
Exactly.
one I most recently watched,
Yeah.
they're all amazing. So like that's
Yeah.
that's
They're
a good
all great.
problem to have where it's like, where do I rank them in the franchise? I don't know. I'd have to be like super super nitpicky about like the
Yeah.
littlest of
Well,
things. It's a damn near perfect franchise. Much like John Wick. So yeah.
well, there's even certain things like even about the original Mission Impossible that I love. Like I love the writing in it. Like they may not have it as amazing of set pieces, but I really love the writing in it. I think that's
Mhm.
really good and like some of the cast and stuff. So like I'll even defend that one. So yeah, they're
Yeah.
all
I
up
think it's
there.
a franchise that doesn't have a bad movie because I rewatched Mission Impossible 2, and while
Yeah.
it's not an amazing Mission Impossible movie, I still think it's a good action movie. And I still think there's
Yeah.
some good stuff in there. I still think there's some good, character work and
With
stuff.
Dimitri.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I still think it's a solid movie because I watched it again recently, and I still think that movie is good. So like one of the lesser ones of the franchise, yes, but at the same time, I still will advocate that this is a franchise that does not have a bad movie, just like John Wick. I think they've all
Well,
been good.
they really started to
Been
ramp
great.
up all the action stunts because the rock climbing thing. You got like a really good car chase, and in Mission Impossible 2. You got a few things in there, so yeah.
Yeah. So yeah,
You got the whole thing where he like drops down into the like building. He has to avoid all the sensors. He's got
no,
that.
the first
So
movie. Yeah, no, that
yeah.
first movie is great. That
Well,
sequence is really tense. Yeah.
there's that one, but I'm even meaning like in the second one, the rest of it's like over the
Oh
top
yeah,
of that
the
like building and
heist. Yeah, yeah.
like
Mhm.
drop down and like in the heist. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's that too.
No, that
So
stuff is good. Yeah, that motorcycle sequence at the end of MI2 is really, really good, and the fight he has
yeah,
on the beach and stuff, like all that stuff is great.
there's just one
Yeah,
too many times where they're like just ripping masks off. Oh, I'm not this guy. I'm this guy, or
yeah,
I'm
right.
like over and over. I'm like, come
Yeah, I'm
on.
kind of glad the last movie or two they've only done that like once. They just make it kind of a
Yeah,
they just do one time in the movie. Like in this one,
yeah,
it's just in that when Carrie Always and Kitteridge are having like that conference, like that roundtable thing, and then he kind of sneaks into the room and then he knocks everybody out with the gas, and then he pulls the mask off and it's Ethan. Like they just do it the once, like essentially.
yeah.
Um,
But
you
there's so
know,
many sequences throughout this whole franchise though that I just love. I can't remember if it's Ghost Protocol or it's Rogue Nation where they have to go into the Kremlin and they're doing the whole thing where they're like trying to
that's the
sneak
Ghost
in there.
Protocol, yeah, because
Yeah,
that's kind of why I
that
love
seems
Ghost
awesome
Protocol is
too.
because that one has so many sequences that are spread out throughout the movie. So it's not just like talking for the first half or like little things and then a big set piece at the end. Like there's
Yeah,
good set pieces throughout the movie because you have that prison break at the beginning of Ghost
yeah.
Protocol, which is
Oh
fun.
yeah, the
When he
prison
breaks out
break. I
when
forgot
he
about
breaks out
that.
of that prison where Simon Pegg's like unlocking the doors for him and stuff. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
And then yeah, you have the Kremlin sequence where they use like the background, the green screen, and then you have the Dubai stuff and then you have like the car chases in Dubai. Like it's
yeah,
spread
all
out throughout
that.
the movie. I think all that stuff is great. So yeah, and kind of spread out throughout the movie. Same thing with Rogue Nation. So but I mean, yeah. What's the best Mission Impossible? I don't know. The one I just saw.
Yeah, right. Yeah, they're all
Yeah,
good. Like
they're
they're all
all great
almost on the same uh,
level.
level for me. Like at least like the like 4, 5, 6, and 7. 3 is almost there for me. Like it's like really high up there. Then you have 1 and then 2 for me, but they're all good. So
For sure.
yeah,
So,
yeah, but
but yeah, big thumbs up for Den Reckoning, man. I really liked it. So yeah.
yeah, and like
Hey, listen, and we talked about it, Jordan. I don't know if you agree with me, but if part two can stick the landing, can we definitively say that this is the best action franchise ever?
yeah, like of all time, yeah, probably so. Yeah,
I mean, I'm
yeah,
struggling to think of one that has been this consistent
consistent.
and has up the stakes, and again doesn't really have a bad movie in my opinion. I
It's
mean,
gonna rival John Wick. Yeah, that's
John
what I was
Wick
gonna
is
say.
great, but John
Uh-huh.
Wick only has 4 movies. To
Uh-huh.
do it for what essentially will be 8 movies
8. Yeah,
is astonishing. Like, and they're all good. It's kind of there's nothing that can rival it. Predator can't do it. Terminator can't do it. Die
no,
Hard can't do
Die
it.
Hard. No,
Bourne can't do it.
no, there's a
James Bond can't do it because there's as
no.
many bad James Bond movies as there are good James Bond movies.
I mean,
Very kind of up and down.
James Bond might have like 7 or 8 good ones, but then
There's a
there's
lot
some
of bad
duds in
ones too.
between.
Yes,
Yeah,
it does.
yeah,
So
yeah,
that's why I would argue. So yeah, if they can stick the landing, Jordan, I'm almost ready
yeah.
to say Mission Impossible is the greatest action franchise in movie history ever.
Right. Yeah,
So
sure.
I'm especially if they can stick the landing, which I have all faith that they will. I don't have any doubts that Chris McQuarrie and Tom Cruise will stick the landing and be great. So
Yeah.
I mean, they've proven themselves over and over again that they can keep topping themselves and the consistency and the quality. So I have no doubt that they won't.
See, that's the like sign of like a really amazing franchise when it just like give me more, give me like
More,
7,
more,
8,
more,
9, 10.
more.
Just keep them coming because like there's certain ones like even like Toy Story for as good as it is, you get 4 and 5 and you're like, all right, these are kind of
Well,
unnecessary.
I think the opposite of that is Fast and Furious, where it feels like homework to watch them now. Where you're
Yeah,
just like, oh
right.
my god, are we still doing
Yeah,
these movies? Like, we should have stopped like a while ago. Like, that's the sign of a bad version of this franchise. That we're just like, oh, they're gonna try again with Terminator to try to reboot it
yeah,
again
right. They're
or
gonna try
whatever,
it.
or Die Hard, where it just kind of ends with a thud and like and then nothing happened. This one we're consistently still like, hey, I'm down for another one. Keep it coming.
Yeah,
Like, let's keep
right.
going. I'm in. So
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see what happens with part 2. Like at this point, like I almost have no doubt it's going to be a banger. Like I just kind of feel like it's
yeah,
just
I
going
just
to
think it
be at
will
this
be.
point.
It's
Yeah,
I don't have any. I think it'll stick it,
going to be great.
and I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, for sure. Good stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and if I were to rate it too, like I'm almost tempted. Like I wouldn't quite do it yet. like as an action movie, I almost would say 10 out of 10 almost. Like it was close,
When
but
I've been doing out of tens for mine for the year so far. I'm at like a 9.5. Like
yeah,
it's still,
same.
but it's still
Yeah,
one of the
I said
best of the year so
9.5.
far. I'm like a 9.5 because for me, John Wick Chapter 4 is still the highest of the year so far. But again, just because that one doesn't really have like a cliffhanger, it kind of just ends. It has a potential
Yeah.
for another movie, but because this was a part one. Now here's the thing again. If part two and they work together as one big giant awesome movie, that could even bump up this one.
Yeah, right.
If it pays off the stuff in this movie,
Yeah, and you're like, holy crap,
back to
that's why
back,
they did this, and this. It
yeah,
all paid off.
and you watch them together, and then it's like, oh god, like that was amazing, like that works. Then it could go up even higher. But
Well,
yeah, it's still one of my favorites of the year for sure, right now.
well, my dad, like, we were maybe going to go see it together. He decided he went out of town this week. He decided to just go see it, and so he's like, "Yeah, I already saw it." I'm like, all right, well, that's fine. But like he was even kind of saying like, this movie's great, but like I feel like maybe the writing wasn't as great as some of the other ones. But I was like, well, just hang on. We haven't seen part two yet. Like it might just all pay off. Just wait for it. I think it's all gonna make sense.
Yeah, no, again, yeah, we don't know. It's just a part one, so yeah, when you play it back to back and you see the other one and it pays off, yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, even then, like I didn't have that much problems with the writing. I thought the story was good. I liked
Yeah,
the story.
yeah, same.
I liked
Me
everything.
neither.
So, but yeah, I didn't have as much problem as some other people did. But yeah, a success overall. So
Yeah.
yeah, let's wrap things up for now. And yeah, big success for Tom Cruise. Keep it coming, man. He's killing it.
Yeah, keep it coming, and we'll see. I'm going to be doing on Monday night. I'm going to be breaking down my top 12 of the year so far, kind of like a halfway point for an episode of Podcast League now, and like it's a little spoiler. Like it's going to come down to probably Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning, and then a John Wick 4. Like it just
Mm-hmm.
is. So like I'm not really sure which one
For me,
I
it's
like
those
better.
two and Air are like the top three right now. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was awesome. Yeah.
and I also really like Tetris. That's just
Mhm.
like me just really like being surprised. Like that might be my biggest surprise of the year, that
Mhm.
movie. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, so you can tune into that on Monday, but that'll do it for this review, I think. So yeah, it's a
Yeah.
great movie. If you haven't seen it, go back and no, if you haven't seen it, go see it, because I think this movie, like, I mean, like this movie will be for everyone except maybe like my grandma. Like besides that, like everyone's gonna
Yeah.
love this thing.
Everybody, the people that go to the theater and plug their ears, it's too loud.
Yeah, yeah, right.
My grandmother used to go see when she'd be plugging her ears the whole time. Anything was loud. It's like
I
that's why
remember
I go to
there
the theater. Yeah.
that my grandparents went to go see The Dark Knight in theaters, and like
Mhm.
after about like 30 minutes, she like comes out and then goes up to the like where she bought her tickets, and she's like demanding a refund. She's like, I demand a refund. That movie is not fit for human consumption. That Joker is like the devil or like whatever. And I'm like,
What?
come on, look, it's great.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So yeah,
Oh.
but yeah, this movie's awesome. So yeah, go check it out if you have seen it. Maybe you want to see it again, because it won't be in theaters long. Unfortunately, because you got some other big movies when you're in the
I
summer
think this one will
season.
hang around for a little while. I think Mission Impossible will be around. People are going to check this one out. It's going to be around for a while. Yeah, there's other movies coming
Yeah.
out, but I think this one will hang around way longer than Dial of Destiny will. I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I just want. I was wondering because next week we got Oppenheimer, you got Barbie. I can't remember like what else. I'm sure that there's a couple other movies coming up, but yeah, like I really wanted to go see it on like in that 4DX thing, but the closest 4DX for me is about 3.5 hours away. Probably like by this next weekend it'll be Oppenheimer and 4DX, bro.
Yeah,
So,
most likely.
but yeah, I think that'll do it. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's wrap this thing up. Yeah. So for I'll just take us out because I've got the outro
Sure.
here.
Yeah, yeah.
But for
Go for it.
Jordan, the movie hero Anderson, I'm Austin Pez Howell, and thanks for joining us for the review, and we'll see you guys next time.